Alright, boys. You know, we have just watched a legend bow out at UFC 279. I'm sorry, alright? It's been a long day. Yeah, Nate Diaz has just given one last show for the people, and we loved it. It was a Legends fight. Thank God the Hamzat Chimaev fight didn't happen, because I mean, Nate Diaz's stock is at a pretty high at this moment, you know, and he's one of the most misunderstood fighters to ever grace the UFC. He's one of them, like, first top tier, not top tier talents to be a UFC star, because, you know, his record is not that good. He's lost to so many people in the UFC, but people just love him for the thing that he's so real. He smokes weed, he doesn't give a fuck, and he just gives the middle finger. You know, he does what everyone like would love to do if there wasn't consequences, but he does not care about the consequences. He just sits there and just says Stockton motherfucker, and then just like walks in there, and like it's great to watch. But he has now left the UFC, and I do not believe he will get signed back. And like, it was sad, but it was a great ending to his UFC career. The reason I say it was sad because we didn't watch him in 2016 to 2019. I mean, Jesus Christ, the star years, because he has been mismanaged by Dana White, miscontrolled by the UFC. You know, he could have been a star so much easier and like so much sooner if he would have just gotten the recognition that he deserved. I mean, think what if he didn't fight Conor McGregor? What would have happened then? You know, nobody would have knew who Nate Diaz was. I mean, people would have probably found out sooner or later, but you get what I mean. He's one of those misunderstood fighters. He grew up in a horrible place. Everyone just sells weed and like pukes and like, you know, everything like that. If you want to know more about like Nate and Nick Diaz, I'll leave a link to a great video below by Patrick Gavi, you know, what a champion himself. But yeah, I mean, Nate and Nick Diaz are champions, but I mean, Nate and Nick Diaz are so not similar, you know, so different but not similar at the same time. They both don't give a fuck, but like Nick Diaz got recognized so much sooner than Nate, you know, because they gave him the Strikeforce champion, which was great for Nick Diaz and his development to becoming the star. But like, Nick Diaz is still in the UFC, and he will probably get like a last fight. I mean, him versus Tony Ferguson is a decent fight, but as I said in the last video, Tony Ferguson should not fight a single time. I mean, please don't, Tony, please. But yeah, I mean, Nate and Nick Diaz are so misunderstood for who they are. They grew up without a father figure. Nate's father figure is Nick. These two bounce off each other. They have a bond that nobody else will have because they've been through life together. Like, people hate their like siblings, and people, like, many people do that. But Nate and Nick Diaz has like an unmatchable bond that I truly respect and love about these two when it comes to fighting, because they both are entertainers. They understood but just being themselves. People don't want to be themselves because like consequences and stuff like that, you know. But Nate and Nick Diaz do not give a shit. They do not care, and I love them for that. And this is basically just a thank you video for Nate and Nick Diaz, because I mean, they have had great careers, but at the same time so much else could have happened in their careers. You get what I mean? It was a great career, but what could have been, you know? I mean, I think Nate Diaz got like a Tyron Woodley like offer to be the champion. What if Nate Diaz or Nick Diaz was UFC champions? I know Nick got a chance against GSP, but that's GSP. I mean, get what I mean? He's the greatest of all time. I mean, I will fight for it that GSP is the greatest of all time. You get what I mean? But yeah, Nate and Nick Diaz are champions of the UFC. they are some of the biggest stars there's ever been. And like UFC losing these two stars, because Nick will be gone when his contract's out as well. Because I mean, Nate Diaz is nearly 40. He doesn't have a clue what he's doing anymore. You know, the Robbie Lawler fight was forced on him because he needed to pay USADA for that, you know, 5-year ban. I know it wasn't 5 years, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, Nate Diaz, you could say he's the second biggest star, and I will say he's the second biggest star to Conor McGregor. I don't know how many pay-per-view buys this did, but you know, like UFC losing this is awful for the business, because the UFC doesn't have that many stars left. Conor McGregor's been on the sidelines too long, and Nate Diaz has just bowed out. You know, this is so bad for the UFC, but it's the UFC's fault for mismanaging him. And you go and get knocked out by Jake Paul for 4 million, 6 million, 10 million. Go get that payday, Nate Diaz, because you deserve it. I'll be watching the popcorn when he gets knocked out, and I'll be saying, you fucking go, son, because you deserve this. And like, yeah. And yeah. It's been your boy Lee. Like, subscribe. You know, comment below what you thought about my take. You know, yeah, what I mean. You know, get something right, get something wrong, but I'm just here to get my feelings out there. But 10k, and I'll see you later. Peace.